You will be held to a higher and soon impossible to maintain ethical standard.
He's a power bottom. Power bottom is a guy who likes to wildly ride the peg of another dude.
By the very mob you currently wish to please.
Y'all really need some LGBTQT.
Why?
Shut up.
What did I say wrong?
Shut up.
Colin, if you have a problem with my character...
You got it right. I mean, you literally got it right.
What power bottom was.
Yeah.
Then you will make a mistake.
Okay, we have a call about the top-bottom stereotype.
And they will devour you with glee.
So, Matt, what have I got wrong?
I know often you feel inclined to describe someone where you think they might be a bottom. And I think that that's often a misconception. I think one that comes to mind was maybe Jordan Peterson that you described as probably being someone that would be a bottom.
Please take this warning seriously. I like you.
To be on the bottom is to give. It's to give. You know, it's a gracious thing. Like, theoretically, Jordan Peterson, if he was a power bottom, he could still be alpha. Apologies to whatever his name was. Apparently I was homophobic to him. People say it was gross and disappointing. Saying you can guess if Matt is a power bottom by his voice is so gross. But I was right. That was the point. He said, it sometimes feels like Ethan thinks LGBTQ plus people are exotic or something. It's super uncomfy. I do think some of y'all are way too fucking sensitive for the show. To be totally honest, I think this with peace and love, you might be too sensitive to watch this show. If you're watching this show and you're perpetually offended by things I'm saying, you may want to just stop watching.
Ha, gotcha.
You know, Jordan Peterson predicted this, right? The shift that Ethan has taken, or he might say the growing he's done, if you want to put it that way, or he's expanded his mind, he's changed his positions. That's okay. Just don't have to be so bitter all the time. But I don't think there's really any question that Ethan Klein has shifted pretty far left over the past couple of years. I'm sure it has nothing to do with moving into a multi-million-dollar mansion in California. I'm sure it's completely unrelated, but maybe he was always that way. And he was just grifting everybody with his kind of anti-cancel culture persona beforehand. He's a long way removed from the man that many YouTubers of my age kind of grew up respecting. He's in a lot of ways a shell of his former self, but still making millions a year. So what am I going to say? I mean, the dude's, making tons of cash. He's still got a pretty loyal audience. Well, maybe until yesterday. But here's what happens when you court people who, want to be outraged at everything. When you court kind of the woke, this is what you get. You have to walk on eggshells forever. Back in January, when Ethan, for whatever reason, decided to disassociate himself from Jordan P. Peterson as in a way to get like some sort of weird clout, Jordan wrote in response to him, "You will be held to a higher and higher and soon impossible to maintain ethical standard by the very mob you're currently wishing to please. Then you will make a mistake and they will devour you with glee. Please take this warning seriously. I liked you." And that's exactly what happened. Now you see Ethan Klein tweeting out this morning, or late last night actually, nearly midnight, "To my LGBTQ plus fans, I am sorry for the comments I made on today's show. The objectification of gay men and the grouping of tops and bottoms is a stereotype that I will be trying to unlearn." Unlearn is a really weird 1984-ish word, isn't it? "Apologies to the caller, too, who I shouldn't have pressed inappropriately. Hope you guys know I always mean well." And I believe that. I saw like people calling him a homophobe and all this stuff, and I was really surprised. I know that Ethan goes back to that, like, he still relies a little bit on that, like, the gay joke thing as a way to impugn somebody's masculinity. That's not what people do nowadays. That's not like the PC version of it. But I also know he grew up in the same era I did, where, amongst my friends probably in elementary school or middle school, You know, the bundle of sticks word was thrown around constantly as a word. And I don't think really anybody had any idea that had anything to do with gay people. It was like a word you called someone if you thought they were a jerk or something like that. Then you get older and you realize, oh, okay, well, there's some other connotation there. So maybe, maybe I don't throw this word around. It's a little cringy. But, I don't police people's speech, but I'm just saying, like, we're about the same age. I don't think he's homophobic. I do think it's hilarious that the very crowd of people that he was seeking, though, is now currently devouring him. It's just amazing. Apologies to the caller. Hope you guys know I always mean well. So I had to take a look, and it turns out there's a video kind of trending of a bunch of phobic things, at least that is what people say. Again, I don't believe Ethan is. I think it's funny that the very people he's been courting are, dragging him. Yeah. You know what? So, by the way, you know what brought upon this apology, of course, was, losing 10,000 subs because of it. It's a lot of people. And maybe he had already lost 9,999 because this only updates every 10,000. And quite frankly, the H3 podcast averages losing 10,000 a month. If we go back to August, minus 10,000. September was a big win because it was only 0. But then they lost 20 the next month, and 10, and 10, and 10, and 0, and 10. So that's 10, 20, 30, 40, 60, 70. So they lost 70,000 subscribers in the past year. That's probably not that big of a deal because there's probably a lot of them were Trisha Paytas. And like subscriber numbers have slowed off. I mean, I don't think my channel's getting... Oh, actually, I did gain 10,000 today, but only because I surpassed that threshold. Sub growth has been pretty slow, but even I had a month here in September and October of last year where I gained 0. I've been pretty steady at 20 or 10 in the positive, but that's only because I constantly beg you guys to subscribe, So I mean, it's a little different. If you look at this actual video, people are really mad, and I don't really understand why. I mean, Ethan is crass, but again, when you court people that are perpetually offended, then this is what happens. You see some of the top comments. If people of a community aren't a part, you aren't a part of, are telling you're saying is offensive or wrong, you really have no place to say they shouldn't be offended. Ethan and Dan have really lost their minds. Renato writes, I was a paying member for months, and I supported the channel by tipping and super chats and whatnot. This segment was simply disgusting. They blocked me in chat for typing Ethan stop and throwing tomato emojis at them. They have become so close-minded that anyone who's not on the same boat as them, they tell to F off. Well, they have truly gained people walking away from their channel. Next comment, they're down 10,000 subs, and now Ethan's trying to apologize. Shut up, unsubscribe, you're too sensitive. It sucks to hear that from a creator you love. This is literally 6 minutes of them making fun of gay men. This is so embarrassing. I was listening while delivering packages, and I had to turn it off with how absolutely ignorant Ethan was being because I didn't want the customers to hear. I really liked when Dan yelled STFU and used a gay lisp. When is Ethan's cancellation? People are mad. Like there's a lot. Comments just keep going about people being mad. What is the segment? Well, they're talking about James Charles, which I don't know why anyone talks about. Is that person still relevant? I thought he went to jail. Wasn't that guy? Weren't people saying he was talking to people that was too young for him? I don't know. Maybe he wasn't. I just remember people were saying that. Like multiple times, over and over and over again. Probably was Ethan saying it. What are they saying exactly here?
Potentially. You may need to wear a diaper. And
so what he's saying is, because you're a gay man and you're engaging in, how do I say this? Taking the dirt trail, it ruins your exit door. And that's why you may end up wearing a diaper. Based on no evidence. I'm sure maybe he is an expert. I don't know. I can't say I know anything about it. So I'm not going to comment on it.
And a lot of you will say, like, okay, we've had a debate. Like, I don't think vagina.
By the way, you've had a debate about whether or not women's parts expand or men's back doors expand. Who are you debating this with?
So, maybe he's just got railed real hard the night before.
So he's going on to all this because I guess James Charles says he's wearing a diaper or something like that now.
Power bottom is a
Being
guy who
fair.
likes to wildly ride the peg.
QT.
Why? What did
Shut up.
what did I say wrong?
LGB power bottom of things here on the H3 podcast. I love you guys so much, but y'all really need some LGBTQT.
Why? What did
Shut up.
what
I like telling your viewers to shut up. That's cool.
did I say wrong?
Shut up.
Colin, if you have a problem with my character,
You got it right. I mean, you literally got it right.
What power bottom was.
Yeah. Shut up. You don't know anything about her sexuality, anyways. The fuck do you know?
That's true.
Yeah.
How dare you assume
Assuming.
that no.
It's funny because like here they're doing the whole like the attack helicopter bit.
None of us are.
Be a bottom.
Then somebody calls in and they sound very polite. They also sound clearly gay. I don't know if they are or not.
Bottom stereotype. Hey, Matt.
Oh,
So, Matt,
wow.
what have I
That's
got wrong?
excellent, sir. I know often you feel inclined to describe someone where you think they might be a bottom. And I think that that's often a misconception, that like bottoms may be passive or the
Well, I just
the
mean
more
that he likes.
passive partner.
I just mean that he likes to take it up the butt.
But how can you know that about someone?
Well, that was just
by
a theory about because he wears diapers. It's just a theory.
Oh no, there have been times. I think one that comes to mind was maybe Jordan Peterson that you described as probably being someone that would be a bottom. That's the only one I can think of off the top of my head.
So what he's calling Ethan out for, and he has done this in the past. Like I said, I don't care. But what he's basically saying is like, oh, if you're a weak man, then you must be a bottom. And so then like the assumption is that then with his LGBTQ community or his gay viewers, he's using it in a disparaging way, which like, yeah, I mean, it's like textbook. Is it like, does it offend me? No. But like, I can see why, his woke crowd might be mad, and not just the woke people, but the actual members of the community.
Like I've heard you at times maybe say like, oh, this is someone that might be a bottom. You can't always tell like who's the top, who's the
So
bottom.
do you
Like,
find it
it's not
offensive
something
if I say by being like, oh, he's probably a bottom? Is that the
Dude, he just said that.
problem? To make
absolutely.
it's offensive.
Because the gay men already you have to deal with certain assumptions about femininity and masculinity.
I mean, it is funny
You're an
though.
ally.
I
You're
don't
an
know. That
ally.
I think the problem is that
It is funny though, he says. Which do you want to be, Ethan? Do you want to be the guy that makes gay jokes, or do you want to be the guy that courts the crowd?
That's all I'm asking for is just be a little more conscious of it.
So would you consider yourself a top or a bottom, or you don't do that?
Why is that his business?
And I mean this with all peace and love and with respect, Ethan. It's none of your business.
But you
How
have a
is it?
preference, one way or the other.
But that's
So what Ethan's really doing here is trivializing the gay community, tokenizing it, making jokes, which again, by the way, is not the joke I would make. I don't have a problem with him making that joke. I'm not the joke police, but his community does, and that's what happens when you court these like people who are. And by the way, the caller is 100% right. Like, even I'm like, bro, this is a little like out of touch, it's I see that similar kind of jokes occasionally, or I hear them occasionally, and it just, I don't know, they don't appeal to me. I feel like there are better things to roast people on, and for a guy that pretends to be woke that hangs around Hassan, not a good look, bud. We'll see how many subs you lose from this oopsie goof or gaff. Hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.